my first patent, and I'm so excited I have to tell everybody about it. Guess what I patented? I patented giving an 8 to 10 minute speech at Toastmasters. But don't worry, Bridget, I won't sue you. Probably. If you're nice to me. Okay, I lied a little. I didn't actually patent 8 to 10 minute speeches. But what if I had? Fellow Toastmasters, today I want to talk to you about the US patent system and some of its problems. Now first, any of you have a patent? Anybody here? A few people, quite a few. Now who thinks patents are good things? What are some of the reasons? What are some of the good things about patents?
Motivation to innovate.
Motivation to innovate. Any others? Well, motivation to innovate is basically why patents were invented. And it's a great thing, I agree. It's terrific. And what I hope to convince you all of is that the patent system is mostly not doing that. In fact, it's doing the exact opposite. It's preventing innovation. So let's start with a quiz. I'm going to name 3 possible inventions. I'll describe them all, and then I'm going to have you vote on which is the real patent. So, number 1, a dog chew toy made of wood or rubber. Number 2, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without a crust. Number 3, what's number 3? Asking people whether they prefer paper or plastic bags. Okay, time to vote. How many vote for number 1, the dog chew toy? About 8 or 9. How many vote for number 2, the crustless peanut butter and jelly sandwich? 3. Number 3, how many vote for asking people about paper or plastic? 1. Well, guess what? You're all right. These are all real patents, granted by the US Patent Office in the last 10 years. And they all still stand as patents. The problem started in the 1980s. Before that, patents were mostly on hardware. New machines. You could patent a new threshing machine, a new printing press, a new CPU chip. But in the 1980s, the Patent Office sort of relaxed their rules. The rules didn't actually change, they just started handing out patents to things that wouldn't have been patentable before. And in 1988, there was a court case, and the court decided that this was okay, that in fact, so-called business method patents, patents on methods of doing business, and also patents on computer programs were okay. The floodgates opened, and the Patent Office started rubber stamping practically every patent that came their way. Well, with all these patents being approved, of course, companies went wild. They started filing everything they could for patents. And then the Patent Office got overloaded, and the problem just got worse. And before long, you could almost be guaranteed that if you filed something and filed all the paperwork right, you would get the patent. So let's consider one such example, a patent of a method of swinging on a child's swing, specifically swinging in ovals rather than straight back and forth. This is a real patent. It was granted to Stephen Olson of St. Paul, Minnesota, age 5. You see, little Stephen's father is a patent attorney, and he told his son that if he came up with something original, Dad would patent it for him. Well, little Stevie's legs weren't quite long enough to reach the ground on the swing set at school, so he tended to kind of go in circles instead of back and forth. And after a while, he noticed that he was the only kid doing that. All the other kids went in straight lines. So he told Dad he had a new method of swinging, and they should patent it. They filed it, and it was approved. In April of 2002, Stevie got his patent. Now, the Patent Office should have checked for 2 things. Patent examiners are supposed to check that patents are not obvious. Seems pretty obvious, I would say, to swing in a circle. But they're also supposed to check for what's called prior art. Check to make sure nobody's ever done this before. It seems like a safe bet that somebody before Stephen Olson had probably swung in a circle. But since 1988, the Patent Office doesn't check. They just award the patent. So things get worse and worse. And that led to the next problem, patent trolls. A patent troll is a company that makes no products. It has no engineers. What it has are lawyers and patents. It buys up these patents from other companies, companies that go bankrupt and have to sell off their assets, their intellectual property. And once the patent troll has a pretty good collection of patents, a few hundred, they start suing other companies for patent infringement. And one example is a company called NTP. No products of its own, but it sued RIM, the company that makes BlackBerry phones, for, what did they sue them for? Sending email over a wireless network connection. Now you might think that this was a little obvious. You know, maybe you could have thought of it yourself. It shouldn't be patentable. Well, NTP, it turns out, had not just one patent on it, but 10 on sending email over a wireless network connection. And it held up in court. RIM fought this for many years through the courts, and they finally ended up paying a $600 million settlement to NTP. Now this doesn't hurt big companies very much. Companies like IBM and Microsoft, they have lots of patents of their own. They have many thousands of patents. So the way it works is, somebody sues IBM, somebody sues Microsoft, they just find some patent they own that you're violating. The two companies reach an agreement. Usually no money is exchanged or a little bit of money. Life goes on. It's not really a problem. No, they call this their patent portfolio, this collection of thousands of patents. What sort of patents are in this? Well, Microsoft, for example, has a patent on double-clicking, which they got in 2004. Now, can you think of any company that might have done double-clicking before 2004? Maybe Apple? Yeah. Think maybe. But I guess they didn't bother to patent it, so Microsoft has it. Google. You know how they changed the logo on their homepage? So, for example, on Easter, you'll go to Google and they'll probably have something with bunnies and eggs instead of their normal logo. Do you know they had a patent on it? They got it just last month, March 23rd. They were awarded a patent on this. You know, big companies aren't the ones that are hurt by this. Who's hurt by the current patent system? Small companies, individuals, open source projects. If you're just some guy working out of your garage, you've got an idea you think will change the world, or if you're a couple of people writing a computer program to share with the world for free, you don't have a huge patent portfolio. You don't have a lot of money to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight a court battle for the next 10 years. You know, when the patent hammer drops, all you can do is give up. All you can do is declare bankruptcy, fold, give up on your idea, and try to do something else with your life. And the sad thing is, patents don't even have to work to be awarded. For instance, there's a patent on using the Casimir effect, which is an obscure principle of physics, to power a spaceship. This is a real patent, you can look it up. And the Casimir effect is real, but it's so tiny, it's very, very difficult even to measure it. You certainly can't use it to do anything useful, let alone a spaceship. It's complete science fiction. But that didn't stop the patent office from awarding a patent on it. So if anybody ever does figure out a way to use the Casimir effect to do anything useful, the owners of that patent will be right there, ready to sue. And that's the effect it has. Patents hurt small inventors and they prevent innovation more than helping it. Now there's a new bill in the Senate, S-23, which tries to solve some of these problems. It mandates that patent examiners check for obviousness and prior art to make sure that a patent is new and innovative. It doesn't quite get rid of all the problems. It doesn't ban software patents. It doesn't ban business method patents. But at least it provides for a re-examination of whether they should be banned. If we can convince Congress to pass S-23, and reform the patent office, maybe Silicon Valley can get back to what it does best, innovating, making great inventions, instead of just having lawyers fight it out in the courts. The patent system is broken. Let's support S23 and fix it. Mr. Toastmaster.